Need computer training for a group or office? Contact us today to get a free demo of our training at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.
In this lesson, we'll talk about some ways to develop great personal references before you put your resume together. Let's start by looking at some good people to consider when developing references. Former bosses, coworkers, customers, vendors, college professors, landlords, managers of your volunteer work, and colleagues all make great professional references. It's a good idea to have at least 3 really impressive references prepared when you go on a job interview. The more varied the 3 people are, the better. Spend some time brainstorming. Write down anyone and everyone who you think would be a good reference, and then narrow the list down to a few people who will give you glowing recommendations. It's very important to get permission from your references before giving their names to a prospective employer. You should develop your references at the same time that you're developing your resume. Get in touch with each person individually. First, ask if the person would be willing to provide a professional reference for you as you look for work. This step is very important. Don't just assume that the person will be willing to write a reference for you. Of course, most people will probably be happy to help. After you get confirmation that the person will serve as a reference for you, have a brief conversation about what you'd like them to say or not say. For example, if you're using a former landlord for a reference, you might say something like, "Thank you so much for agreeing to be a reference for me, Mr. Smith. I'm hoping that you'll share with anybody who calls that I was always on time paying my rent and that I left the place in spotless condition. If it's not too much to ask, maybe you could avoid mentioning how I broke the pet rule when I got a goldfish." Before saying goodbye, thank your new reference again. He or she might just get you your next job. Thank you notes have a big impact, and so it can be really helpful to send somebody a short, handwritten note after he or she agrees to be one of your references. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Something like, "Dear Mr. Smith, I just wanted to send you a quick note to say thanks again for agreeing to give me a professional reference. It means a lot to me that you agreed to do that, especially since I haven't been your tenant for almost a year now. I really appreciate your help. Thanks again. Sincerely, Mary." A small gesture like this can really make a difference. After receiving this note, Mr. Smith is very likely to give Mary a glowing reference.
Like what you see? Get a free demo of our training for groups of 5 or more at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.